Hello, friends. Can you hear me? Can you hear my voice from the computer? Okay, that's great. So as you know, today we are going to speak about the Ielts exam, especially the speaking part of the exam. So first of all, I want to see how many students are here are going to take the Ielts exam. So we can start from the beginning talking about the exam in general. And after that, we can talk about the speaking part particularly. So is there any student who is here and knows about the Ielts exam in general? Yes or no? You can write whatever you want to say in the chat. I can hear you from there. I think you don't know anything. Is it right? Well, I'm going to explain the exam first of all to you from the beginning. As you know, Ielts exam is the international English exam that generally students take for getting the visa, for moving to different countries, for getting acceptance from different universities, for different level of education, like as you know, bachelor degree, PhD, or even master in most of the universities all around the world, even in Turkish universities. So it has 4 skills. Generally, you are going to take the exam in 4.
Hocam bir saniye. Biz anlamadık. Tekrardan anlatır mısınız?
Of course, of course. Do you think I talk fast? You cannot understand me?
Nasıl? Anlayamadım.
Can you understand me when I'm speaking?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's great.
Hocam bir saniye. Ben daha yeni katıldım da.
What's your name? I think you closed your microphone. What's your name? We generally speak English only, okay? So if you can speak English, it would be great.
Tamam hocam anladım şimdi. Tamam.
Okay.
Sorun yok.
Thank
tamam,
you.
Devam
No
hocam,
problem.
Devam.
No problem.
Hocam.
Okay.
Hocam bütün derslere ben katılıyorum da yalnız.
What's your name? I don't know your name English. Okay, or you can write directly in the chat. I can read it from there.
Hocam ben bölmeyeyim, devam edelim hocam.
Okay. So, first of all, I was explaining that generally people who want to move abroad to different countries, generally European countries, the United States, Canada, Australia, take Ielts exam for getting visa, for getting acceptance from different universities, generally American universities, Canadian universities, Australian universities, or even Turkish universities for pursue your education in master programs or PhD programs. Therefore, knowing English in academic level is really important for you because in the university, generally you need to, or you are supposed to write articles, run and read different articles in English language. So, as you know, Ielts exam
is... Ben de orada bir problem oldu galiba. Ses gelip gidiyor hocam da sizin görüntü falan kayıyor arada.
Evde
sure? Wi-Fi'de 20 megabit bağlattık. Güzel çekiyor yani.
I cannot speak so much Turkish. I'm sorry. So anyways, we have 4 skills in your exam, as you know. These 4 skills are speaking, listening, reading, and writing parts, as you all know, if you are preparing for Ielts exam. So therefore, if you need to practice those skills of, I'm going to explain speaking, as you know, today. So basically, I'm going to just explain that part rather than writing and reading, because those are not the parts that I teach, basically. Therefore, can you hear me anyways?
Yes, teacher. Yes, teacher. Yes.
Okay, that's good.
You can hear you totally.
Good. Okay. So in the Ielts exam speaking part, you need to show your English. Actually, it's really obvious that the students try to show their English in the Ielts because they want to get a great mark. But sometimes the problem is that
Allah çok şükür hiçbir problem yok hocam.
Okay, can you just stop interrupting me? We have different things that we need to pay attention in your speaking parts that are not giving the answer to the questions really long because your information or your interest is not something important in the exam. The only thing that is important is your English and showing your ability of using the grammars and using the vocabularies. So it's the most important thing that you need to pay attention in your speaking part. In the speaking part, we have 3 parts, part 1, 2, 3, as you know. In part 1, you are supposed to give the answer to generally normal questions or personal questions about your life. So what are those? They ask you some question about your hometown, your interests, or your likes, dislikes, the thing that you like to do in your free time, about your family, the place you live, your childhood a little bit. So the first part is basically 3-4 questions, which takes 5 to 6 minutes or 4 to 5 minutes. And you're supposed to give the short answer to the first part questions in order to just start the exam. In the second part, we are going to have the topic sentence. So they give you the topic sentence and the requirements of the things that you're supposed to talk about. And 1 minute to think about the answer, 1 to 2 minutes to give your answer, actually. Therefore, measuring your time here is really important. In the third part of the exam, which is kinda related to the second part of the exam, you are supposed to talk about or give the answer to the questions that are more general, but related to the second part. Therefore, if they ask you some questions regarding your childhood, generally in the third question, you are going to be asked about some questions that are related to your childhood, technology, and other things. Therefore, your answer should be more general, full of more academic sentences, and at the same time, longer answers that includes the society and other people. So it's mostly about the speaking part, but as you know, guys, for example, different parts such as reading and writing are the things that you may, yeah, sure, Hatice, I can speak slowly. Reading and writing parts are the parts that you can a little bit work on your own, but unfortunately speaking part is something that you need to take some classes for, or at least having a partner in order to practice on your regular basis. So if you want to improve your score, especially in speaking parts, daily practices based on different topics is the most important thing that you need to do. So it's all from me. Actually, there are a lot of details
Hocam ara
to
sıra
explain
donuyor ha,
about the
haberiniz olsun.
final exam speaking part. What?
I don't hocam. Donuyor. Ben bunu şimdi cold diye diyemem.
Arkadaşım lütfen kesme lütfen ya. Lütfen. Please.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you. Yeah. So other students, if you have any more questions regarding the speaking part, I can answer in the chat. So could you please write your questions in the chat so I can answer them one by one? I'm sorry, Hamza, but if you have any question, I can answer it. Any question, friends? If you don't have any question, we can check one of the samples of the exams together and I can share my screen with you. It may be so helpful for you, for your practices. So you can see, it's one of the website that I generally work with my students, asking them the questions and ask them to answer my questions. We have some basic topics about the IELTS exam. So as you know, IELTS exam is generally based on academic and at the same time general topics about traveling, holiday, friends, pets, animals, and your hobbies, so free time activities, education, and etc. So one of the samples, if I want to show you, can be here. And as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to have 3 parts. The first part is generally basic question about you, like, do you like traveling? What's your favorite type of holiday? What do you do on holidays? And are there many tourists visiting your country? And in the second part that I mentioned earlier again, we have a topic sentence, which is a monologue. So you are supposed to prepare your answer to this part for 1 minute and give your answer in 1 to 2 minutes. However, the vocabularies you use, the idioms, the having the structure while you're answering the question, like starting the sentence and then continue the sentences and finishing them, is the most important thing. And in the third part, we have more general questions like, why do you think tourism is so developed now? How people choose their destination? What kind of transport do you prefer on holidays? And do you prefer traveling alone or in tour groups? So it's the third part that includes in more general questions about the topic. It's the second part that we are going to have the monologue. And it's the first part that you are going to be encountered with simple questions, basically based on the personal information of a person or personal interest of the specific person. So let me get your questions, if you have any, and after that I can close the session if you don't have any. So I'm waiting for your question. You can write them in chat, and I'm waiting for you. Okay. There is no question, guys, from here. Are you sure? And another thing that I can mention about your speaking part is that generally the speaking parts of your exam is held on another day. So for example, on Friday, generally you take your speaking, and on the other days, like Saturday, you're going to take your writing, listening, and speaking, writing, reading, and the listening part. And generally speaking, exam takes 15 to 20 minutes with all the process. So you will be speaking only for 15 minutes with your interviewer. That's good then. So if there is no person asking any question, I can close the session because it was all from me. There's nothing extra that I would like to mention. So I'm gonna wait for more 2 minutes. In case you have any question, you can write it in the chat. Teacher, and if not, I'm going to close it.
Teacher, I'm sorry. May I ask you something?
Of course.
I have a special question for myself. I believe myself, I can understand everything that you are talking about. I'm good at for listening and listening as well, but my problem is reading and writing, because I'm a sailor. I'm sailing all over the world for a few years, and that's why I think I improve myself on English, just listening and speaking.
I can see.
Yeah, and that's why, but I can't understand when I'm reading. It's so tough. It's so tough for me, for myself. And I don't know what should I do for a
well,
for
the
a
thing
limit
that
for
you
a
need to
limited time.
do, As you know, IELTS is not something like the university preparation. So I tell you, you need to finish all of these books in order to improve your understanding of the sentences. One of the most important thing that you need to do is learning the basic grammars and academic grammars, because, you know, we have dangling modals, relative clauses, or different like relative clause reduction, that after understanding all these academic grammars, understanding the readings become much more easier, because generally students don't know these grammars. So when they see them in the different passages, they even cannot understand the reading. So there are two things that you need to work on. The first one is learning academic words and academic vocabularies, which are same. And the second one is learning academic grammars. If you learn academic grammars, understanding the academic passage would be so easy for you.
Okay, teacher.
And reading on your regular basis. For example, you buy an English book and read 10 pages every day. By reading more and more, after a while, you can understand that your understanding of the passages increases day by day. It's a little bit about reading as well, because if you are not really used to reading different, passages, articles, or books, generally understanding in another language even is hard. So you need to practice that, unfortunately, every single day, and writing is kind of same.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you.
You're welcome. Not actually, Hamza. It's about giving information about the listening part of IELTS exam. It's not like having a class or practices together. It's mostly speaking about the IELTS exam. But of course, we can do that maybe next week or the following weeks. If we have the opportunity, we are going to have some lessons to practice them in practice, actually. Shema, honestly, answering the questions very shortly is not beneficial, of course, because if you stop speaking before the time that interviewer interrupts you, it's a negative point for you. So you need to keep speaking till the time that interviewer says, okay, that's enough. You don't need to speak anymore. Like, that's enough answer for this question. Therefore, in part one, the only thing that I mentioned about not talking so long, like about that specific part, was that you shouldn't go into details. Like, for example, they ask you some question about your hometown, mostly focus on your hometown. Give all the information. For example, I'm from Ankara, which is the capital city of Turkey and located in the center of Turkey also. And like giving some information about your hometown, mostly about Ankara. But some students generally go into details and give a lot of information about their hometown. Like, yes, in my free time, I do that. I like visiting my friends and I like Ankara because of that. No, the person didn't ask you if you like your hometown or if you do not like your hometown. The important thing is, where is your hometown? Like, where your hometown is. It's the most important part of the question. Therefore, you need to focus on that and give all the information regarding to the question. But by being short, I wanted to say that. But in the third part, actually, your answer shouldn't be short. You need to speak a lot till the time that you will be interrupted. It's the most important thing. Like, you talk, you speak till the last minute, and the interviewer says, okay, you don't need to explain anymore. Thank you. Like, it was enough. But if you stop before the time that she or he says that, it's something negative for you. How can we learn academic grammar? I don't know if there's something like academic grammar. I know it is more complex, more than novel grammar, but it is like advanced grammar. Okay, well, of course it is. Light shines. Now, we have academic grammars that you generally cannot see in the normal like B1, B2, A1, A2 readings. Those academic grammars are different form of the sentences. Like, for example, we start the sentence without having the subject, and then we have comma. After the comma, we have the subject of the previous sentence. Like, it's one of the things that you need to pay attention to. Like, for example, cooking well, my mother is a really great person. So it's a different form of sentence. The normal form should be, my mom is a really great cook, and my mom is a really great person. So I connect them with and, or I connect them with a relative clause. But in academic grammars generally for writing, we correct them to each other with like deleting one of the subject from the sentence and using punctuation to connect the sentences. Therefore, yeah, we have academic grammars, unfortunately, and you need to know them all mostly before starting your Ielts exam. That's why generally in our writing parts, we work on them. And or if you are, for example, touch students in C1 and C2 classes, we basically work on academic grammars for writing. Okay, is there any more question? You're welcome. Okay, guys, so as you know, always getting a certificate in a language that you learn is so important, because you cannot prove your skills without having an international certificate. So most of the certificates that you received from different institutions actually are important, but the most important exams that are valuable in different countries, like, I mean, you can use them for applying for the universities, are the international exams, such as IELTS, TOEFL, SAT exam, or GRP exams, or for example, PT exams. Therefore, if you're fluent in a language, my suggestion for you is getting your international certificate in that language in order to use it, not only for job applications, but also for pursuing your education in another country. It's a really great chance for you to, for example, apply for great universities with IELTS only, or with TOEFL even. So thanks for joining. If you have any more question, of course, you can ask the institution, or you can text me also. And take care of yourself. Have a nice day.